quick update again. Yeah, there's two coils I had on display earlier. Well, that's what's left of them. These were two full spools of wire, and I guess Maplins, you cheap asses, or more expensive for less. Obviously, I don't put that much on there because that's a proper coil. That's how they should come in the shop. But yeah, that's trifilar there. The trigger was a tad short. It looked a bit longer than when I had it sort of measured against the drill, but I guess I screwed up there. But I can extend that, I guess, or put little solid block connectors on there so that them things. Yeah, them. Yeah, put them on there so that less messing about goes on with that. And my two primary coils. I've just done a ohms reading. It was a bit fiddly to do, so I'm just going to say they were 7.8 each ohms resistance. From one to the other. In series, they were 15.1 ohms. So I'm kind of pretty proud of that. So I've got this more or less at the top end of what you were saying, Tin Man, on your schematic. But I think that's better for me because early days I had a habit of blowing up transistors and 600 volts diodes, great big ones. Yeah, this is the stuff I used to. Sorry for the blackouts in my lap. I'm just grabbing a thingamabob diode. That's one. Yeah. In the early days, I used to play with these. Let's see, 600 volt 3 amp diode. In the early versions, that's why I got these ones, because I kept on blowing everything up with like huge back EMF spikes. So again, having high resistance parts, because of the trigger wire, it's on the lower end of the resistance, which means if it's lower end of resistance, that means it's less wire than what you are recommending. So it's on the lower end of what you're recommending, basically, for trigger wire. So it's less sensitive, less power gets through, and this is high resistance. Again, a bit more resistance, less power through, but the back EMF spike's going to be obviously higher because there's more wire, more current fills the wire, more current collapses, or indeed flux collapses, back EMF spikes. So again, that's better for me than having a tuned system. There's the board. Da-de-da. And it's been 2 years, I believe, since I've soldered. They're a bit scraggly, but it's all there. It's all popped on. I've got the charge battery positive, charge battery negative. There's my negative input. Positive input, and those blue little lines there coming off the collector of this one here and from the collector of there is where I put my coils. I should have thought about this a bit more because, yeah, look, it ain't too high voltage or a risk of things shorting, maybe, because I've got the negative right in the middle of them, which is obviously positive. So I'm just going to have to see how that goes. Yeah, I've got 2 pots, 1K and 10 ohm resistors, the blue or grey, if that matters. I don't know, but these are 10 ohm anyway, 10% variance or something like that. I don't actually often use these. Again, the early days, I blew these up, burnt them out, same with the resistors, so I ditched them and actually ran pretty good pull circuits with no pots, no resistors in it. And I adjusted it based on the induction of the metal inside here. So let's say if I was running, I'd simply pull the bar outwards more, and less induction happens and resistance, blah blah blah, and it would change the speed, power consumption. And I'd also got to the stage of, let's say again, having it there set up in a pulse motor circuit, and I'm just looking for that monster. Yeah, so imagine now that jumbly mess is a pulse circuit. Instead of having this in next to the rotor, I'd actually have just that. The AC induced into the high current wire would induce a current into there, and it would fire without this being, sorry, I'm trying to point and hold the camera at the same thing, but without that there, that could be there and this would be in front of the rotor, and it would run perfectly, extremely fast, and it would also run on either side of the coil. The only thing, again, with the early ones where there was that amount of wire on it, it would get warm, because I guess there's a high current trying to squeeze through high voltage wire. But again, heat is conversion of currents and electricity and energy, so I never really got to test what my actual outputs of these were, because again I was having fun. Car batteries, wires, things that go pop, flash and bang if you touch this and that, and that's the stuff I used to like to do. Yeah, there's a little one up there, but that's NAF as well. I blown that one out by mistake. And if you're on the forums, that's not the offending one. The one that I talked about in the thread, I'll throw that in the bin somewhere. But yeah, that's what I've got to now. So I'm gonna stick all this together. There it is. Yeah, stick it all together and see what I get, and see what smokes, what goes bang, if the rotor flies apart, and just put the mirror. The rotor flies apart, and that's a problem. Oh well, I can do it that way around. If you see just there, I have a scar. I got nearly knocked out by one of these on my early design that actually flew off, smashed me proper in the face, and I could see my skull through the hole it created in the skin. And I got them ones, might use them for a generator, I don't know, and them ones up there in the wall here. Nice steel beam, so I'll stick all my magnets onto there. Yeah, okay. Blabbered on for a bit long enough now. Thanks for your time. Enjoy.